Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series Round 4 Heat 2 here at Zolder. My name is Stephen Koenig, and joining me in the box is Tristan Herbst, a commentator for the world of sim racing in F1, and now trying out his hand for some GT3 racing. Got to witness Heat 1, which was absolutely phenomenal racing, might I add. But while we got a bit of a warm-up, let's just quickly go through the results of our last heat. Starting off with our Pro class, and let's take a look at that. Tristan, over to you for our Pro class.
Alright, so I mean, we saw a pretty competitive Pro class in Heat 1. So Yuri Swat had a phenomenal gap from the rest of the field, about a 6-second gap. Managed to keep first place. So second place, Jason Kutsia, followed by Julian Familiaris, Troy Dolenchek, Vanna Swart, Luka Legovic, John Spalmers, Noah Hendricks, Mark Heron, and Muath Musa, who rounded off the top 10 for Heat 1.
Moving on
that
to
is Pro.
This is moving on to our Pro-Am. Jan van Rensburg taking the win there, 19 seconds ahead of Greg van Niekerk. Doug Herber running a third, Stephen Cakebread, Fonnie Graveseen, Etienne Swart, Robbie Teens, Ryan van Wyk, Roland Ferreira, and Malcolm Pringle, rounding out our top 10 for our Pro-Am. But I'm going to leave you to take the Am class.
Right, so the AM class was also a little bit of a smaller class, but still amazing racing. So Jopie Simon, actually managing to keep very competitive with some of the other guys in the higher divisions. Weynan Karsop in second place, Willem Pina, Paul Weber, and then Mudalozi Gambushi following in fifth, rounding off the AM class for Heat 1. Great racing overall in Heat 1. We're looking into Heat 2 now to see how competitive they can keep.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome one. And for a reminder for everyone, we're going to take our top 5 winners overall, reverse them around, and now life is going to be a bit more interesting because this gives people an opportunity to start at the top of the pecking order, which, well, I gotta say, is going to be an interesting run for it all. So let's take a look at the grid though as we get ready for Heat 2 and our final heat of the season. Werner Swart out in first place, Troy Dolenchek taking second, Julian Familiaris, Jason Kutsi, Yuri Swart, Luka Lugovic in 6th, Jan Spalmers in 7th, and John van Rensburg running in 8th position. Noah Hendricks running in... Noah Hendricks will be chasing him down. There we go. Thank you very much. We've got Noah Hendricks, Mark Heron, followed by Mahath Musa, Yaz Mai, Greg van Niekerk, Gippy Simons, along with Doug Herber, Paul Herber, Stephen Cakebread, Fonnie Graveseen, Willem Buerta, Etienne Swart, Daniel Dematros Petro, Venon Kersop, Robbie Teens, Ryan van Wyk, Willem Pina, Roland Ferreira, Malcolm Pringle, Luke Lucchesi, along with Stephen Kutzer, Raymond Duggan will be having a good go. Paul Weber, Paul Nadir, along with Quincy Costa, Mandalozi Gabashai, and Cabello Matsamai, also known as Prince KB, will be starting at the back of the field. But all eyes go to Werner Swart, though, who will be starting out in pole position, looking to break away with his Altered Carbon Racing Porsche, lined up with Troy Dolenchek, who is ready to go for battle in the RDSA machine.
So into the formation lap, as we mentioned, the same in Heat 1. The tires need to be warmed up, brakes need to be heated up, and the nerves need to be settled here. This is now the final featured event for the season. This is the final round, the final heat. It all comes down to this. So these are the final few chill moments behind the safety car. You know, the breathing is going to be heavy. The visor is going to start fogging up. Things are going to start getting a bit of tense. And I mean, we're going to see a little bit of tight competition. The Heat 1's winner, Yuri Swart, starting down 6th, but actually 5th. So it's going to be quite an interesting race to see on the launch because he was incredibly fast compared to the other drivers in Pro. So we might see some incredible overtakes happening. Vanna Swart is going to have all eyes on him as we come around to the first corner, as he is leading with a pack of very angry and very ready Pro drivers who would like to win that money.
Yeah, it's going to be a monumental run. I think drivers are going to feel the nerves kicking in. I've got to say, my nerves are kicking in for the rest of the field because this is not going to be an easy run. This is going to be a challenging time for all our drivers to see who's going to be able to get that little bit further into the corners, who's going to have the advantage heading into the race. I mean, anything can happen, and we're about to see it all go into battle. But for Werner Swart, who is now feeling that pressure to kick it off, for the top 5. I don't know. Hey, this is going to be a proper run for the rest of our field.
I mean, I don't know, if I was Van der Swart, my hands would be absolutely shaking right now. I mean, as I mentioned, there's so many guys behind him who want that position. They want to take it away from him. And I mean, remember, the system has put him in first place after the top 5 swap around. So he's going to come around now. He's seeing the end of the back straight, about to turn left onto the final chicane before the straight. And he is thinking to himself, oh man, I've got Troy Dolenchek up on the right side of me. I've got Julian Familiaris behind me. I've got Jason Coetzee, Jerry Swart, and the rest of the grid behind me. I've got everyone behind me. I've got everyone watching the rear end of my Porsche. At least the livery looks absolutely amazing, so that's a great thing to see. But we're going to be coming around to the race start. You can already see drivers starting to pressure up against each other, and it is lights out. Van der Swart managed to keep it clean, the whole grid. As you can see, everyone's starting to come across the hill on Zolder. First corner, Troy Dolenchek goes wide, tries to get the cut over. No, Van der Swart goes defensive, stays up on the inside. Troy Dolenchek looking up on the inside.
Oh, he gets bottled up, as it does look like Julian Familiaris tried having a go at him. 3 wide, though. That's going to be risky into turn 2. Julian Familiaris, Yuri P-Swat, and Jason Coetzee.
Oh, it's tight.
Testing each other.
Yeah, it is extremely tight. I mean, you can see this is heat 2 of the final round. People are not messing around. 3 wide into turn 1 and turn 2. People are like, no. We've got to make it happen now, or else it's not going to happen. Ferrari looking up on the inside of that Corvette. Oh, big crashes.
Mark Heron tags one of the cars under braking, and it is a little bit of chaos behind the scenes. Drivers trying to get themselves back into check, but not ideal situations there. Mark Heron, though, will be going and thinking, yeah, I think I got caught out there, and I'll have to keep an eye on it. But quite a few cars getting chucked to the pits. But out in front, Troy Dolenchek breaking away from the battle behind him, as it is going to be a monumental run, as Jason Coetzee getting ahead of Yuri Swart, and Werner Swart, who started in pole position, now starting to slip down the order. Will have Jan Sparmers onto the back of him. These 4 are not hanging around, but unfortunately that is going to play into the hands of Troy Dolenchek to open up the gap.
Troy Dolenchek already 2.1 seconds ahead of Jason Coetzee. He's going to start ramping it up a little bit. He sees, okay, cool, I've got the time now, I've got the space, I need to make it happen and create a bit of a gap here. So that's exactly what he's going to be doing. But I mean, flashback a bit from the last lap. I mean, the track marshals are going to be a little bit busy. I think there was a lot of incidents, a lot of little bumper bashes, especially in that main chicane with the heavy sausage curves. We saw a couple of drivers going wide, touching the sand. And I mean, that's all coming from the pressure. I mean, you see sand getting flicked up over there by the Corvette. Everyone is trying to push the final living breath out of these cars. This is the final race, the final heat of the RaceFace iRacing GT3 series, the Sprint series. So, you know, all pressure is on these drivers now. Jan Sparmers, we see him chasing down the driver in front of him. I believe that's Van der Swart, who was first place. I mean, that just shows the pressure among these drivers. First place, he started at the start of the sprint race. That was only 2.5 minutes ago, and he's already down to 4th place. He's already lost out to Jerry Swart, Jason Coetzee, and Troy Dolenchek, who are already making gaps on him.
Well, we've got an even bigger problem, because it does look like Van Rensburg is in the pits and getting towed back to pits. So Van Rensburg, who was on a monumental run, unfortunately had a bit of a problem there, because it looks like his internet has just died. We're getting reports from the pits that Van Rensburg's internet has just died, and that has taken him out of the race. That means that the Pro-Am is going to be opening the cards, but it also means 57 points is now up for another driver to possibly go and usurp him in the championship. Not ideal circumstances, but gotta say, it does add a little bit of spice to how this race is now developing.
100%. I mean, it's always so unfortunate to see a driver lose out on points due to external factors that they don't get to control. Internet is especially being one of the biggest ones. But I mean, as you mentioned, like Greg van Niekerk now being able to benefit right now from those 57 points. Currently the leader of the Pro-Am division after Van Rensburg unfortunately dropped out. And it's such a sad thing to see. But on to Yuri Swart here in 3rd place already, guys. 5th place at the start of the race. That was 4 minutes ago. He's already 3rd place, chasing down Jason Kutsia. He wants 1st place back. He's hungry for it. It's the 2 Corvettes, completely equal performance. The only differing factor being the setups. They could even be identical. So, I mean, but you can see the pressure of this, guys. The grey Corvette is sniffing on the back of that blue Corvette. He's given a little bit of gap now coming to the final chicane. But, I mean, the racing is absolutely intense.
It's going to be a proper bit of momentum that's needed. Jason Kutsi trying to battle out, has got Yurion Piswat onto the back of him. Yurion Piswat also trying to get himself ready for this weekend. He's going to be racing in the SAE 4 hours of Kyalami, so well trying to get his head in the game to race 4 hours with Cara Hill at Kyalami. He's now having a bit of fun in sim racing, chasing down one of these rivals in terms of sim racing, both with a different bit of background. Jason Kutsi comes from single-seaters background, Yurion Piswat more in tin tops, both of them going and venturing into the world of sim racing, both finally getting to have a good scrap with one another in this race. Absolutely tremendous stuff, but it does look like they lost the ground to Troy Dolenchik. Behind them, though, is interesting enough, Werner Swart and Jan Sparmers that are on top of one another. They're trying to force the situation to get past. Then we've got we got Mark Heron with Yaz and Luka Logovic trying to keep ahead of Noah Hendricks. Greg van Niekerk is now up into 1st place, and he has got a Mustang of Paul Gerber barreling down the back of him, trying to make a move. Mohamed Musa dealing with Willem Buerta onto the back of him. Doug Gerber ahead of Luke Lucchesi, who has got Daniel Demetrius Petro. Had a little bit of a rough start, now trying to claw his way back into the thing. Stephen Cakebread running at 17th. 18th is Cabello Matsumai. Prince KB now looking to show that he is the king in the battle. Doug Gerber, though, there is a bit of a problem. Luke Lucchesi and Daniel Demetrius Petro having a bit of a problem there, and that has been a bit of a quick turnaround for all the drivers. Not ideal circumstances.
That's a full bumper gone from that Porsche. I mean, let's take a look at this replay. Luke Lucchesi coming in, honing on the back of that Corvette. The Corvette goes deep. He looks to the inside. Oh, and D'Amato Preto tries to take the position up on the inside, and Lucchesi doesn't react fast enough. Gives a little bit of a bumper tap, and I mean, that small kind of tap has completely removed the front bumper of that Porsche. So that thing's going to have to go into the pits, get a couple of repairs. That's a major unfortunate accident to see, but glad both drivers who were involved are back on track. They're back racing, no permanent damage. And back to the main race, so we're on board again with Luke Lucchesi. He actually has not decided to pit, so he's going to continue racing with that damage. Obviously has found that it's really not that bad. He's going to keep trying. He's determined he'll rather pit when he was going to plan to pit. Obviously, as we mentioned, it's a strategic pit stop that needs to be made, or else these guys will run out of fuel and stop dead on track.
Greg van Niekerk getting away. Mahath Musa feeling the pressure from Willem Buerta onto the back of him. And one thing the drivers will get to know about, we do have what we call fast repair. And just in this is always quite a handy thing to have in the world of iRacing, where you can go and get the car repaired. It's a quick repair. We've got lots of spares in the pits for the drivers to just get new parts bolted on during the pit stop. It doesn't cost you time. So where in the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione you're expecting 12 seconds, 13 seconds of repair time, a quick repair basically nullifies that. You get a brand spanking new car on your way out of the pits. Great stuff to have in a race, but if you don't have a fast repair, which these drivers have got tons of spares, if you don't have the spares, well, you're looking up to, I think the worst one I've ever received was in a 6-hour race, as we do see one car go out wide and land into the wall. That, I think, was Robbie Teens that went and drifted into the wall.
That's so unfortunate.
Yeah, the most repair work that has been done, 6 hours race, and I got told by the pit crew that it's going to take 48 hours of repair time.
48 hours. That's
48 hours in a 6-hour race. So, yeah.
Wow, you finish the 48 and continue the race. Oh wait, there is no race.
you keep going and you tell the guys that you'll close the gates once you're done. But,
no, I got to finish, guys. I got to finish.
Yeah, no, I got to see that end. But at the moment, Yurion Piswat all over the back of Jason Kutsia. Big train starting to form behind Luka Lugovic, where Yasamai, Noah Hendricks, and Paul Gerber have now gotten right into the fray of things. Yasamai going side by side. Looks like he has lost out the drive and has got a slowdown as he drops 2 positions before the corner. So yes, Mai losing out to Paul Gerber and Noah Hendricks on the way through. Paul Gerber is going to keep applying pressure onto the back of Noah Hendricks in hopes of a mistake being made on the way through. So Little Train now starting to form and break apart as well. Vernon Kersop fighting out with the likes of Willem Buerta. Willem giving him the gap, saying, listen, you're not my fighters yet. I'm going to let you go. Vernon Kersop, who is leading the AM class at the moment, is going to be smiling as Yuppie Simons didn't have the best of starts. Willem Buerta looks for the inside line. Couldn't get the pass done and dusted, keeping it all together. But this is still early stages of the race.
100%. There's always time to recover, always time to potentially gain a couple of positions down later the line. And the biggest thing about racing as well is capitalizing on other people's mistakes, because it can happen. Focus can be lost, things can happen, accidents can occur like we've already seen between Heat 1 and Heat 2, and drivers can potentially benefit from extra points, which again, those points can maybe, eventually lead to a couple of bucks going into your pocket by the end of this race. Which is a great benefit to know, especially because this is being the last race of the season. There's not really anything else to look forward after this. After this, the money's in the pocket and you're off. But we're watching now on board with Mahith Musa. Mahith Musa chasing down, I believe that's Greg van Niekerk in the Pro-Am division, so not actually fighting him in front, but the drivers in front of him, yes, Paul Gerber, Noah Hendricks, all the people in his division, and he's going to want to get past that Pro-Am and try and chase down the pros in front.
Greg van Niekerk keeping up a good pace at the moment, is actually going and pulling Mahith Musa along, but we are seeing a couple of problems here. Yuppie Simons may be heading into the pits, and I think he did head into the pits. Let's take a look. Yeah, so Yuppie Simons into the pits. Will Luke Duquesne be doing the same? I do think so as well. So getting a couple of cars, getting those pit stops done and dusted. You can hear feathering the throttle on the way through, not wanting to push it too far.
I mean, you can see exactly there at that pit entry why sometimes there can be accidents. Looking at Luke Duquesne's onboard POV, that green Ferrari in front of him braking and then suddenly turning left to continue the track while Luke Duquesne goes straight into the pit. Sometimes it can be deceiving to the eye when a car just randomly turns and you're wanting to go straight. It can be a little bit of a, whoa, what's going on? Do I need to brake harder? Do I need to go faster? But back on board, yeah, with Yuri Mpiswat, down in, still staying in third, chasing down Jason Kutsia. I mean, look at that gap, 0.29 behind Jason Kutsia. So the pressure is on. These two have been added for, I don't know how many laps now. I think for the past 4 or 5 laps, right behind each other. And that just shows the cleanliness and the professionalism of both of these drivers, being able to keep it clean, keep it strong, not going off of the track and keeping it right behind each other without causing any incidents.
Yeah, and does look like Jason could see keeping ahead of Yuri Mpiswat, looking left, looking right, tries to look for the inside line, couldn't quite get it all put together under braking. Both Chevs going and really running onto the bump stops at the moment, but that is allowing a bit of a run on the tires, both not going and changing tires in Heat 1, so that may be a defining factor that the drivers have figured out. Paul Gerber onto the back of Noah Hendricks. This is the big Mustang chasing down Noah Hendricks in the Ferrari 296. Proper run between them as they skate their way around the track, late on the brakes, and it does look like Paul Gerber a little bit more balanced through the corners compared to Noah Hendricks at the moment, but just doesn't have that low end torque to get past the likes of Noah Hendricks' Ferrari. He can stretch his legs. Unfortunately, it looks like the rotation comes into play where Paul Gerber tries his luck in the Mustang, but the understeer just killing him at the end of the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially with those bigger front engine cars, understeer is their biggest enemy, but they do benefit greater from a couple more kilometers down on the straight line. But yeah, that Ferrari with the mid-engine experiencing a little bit better rotation, especially through the chicanes here at Zolder. So that benefits him, and that's also why he's been able to hold the gap and keep a little bit ahead of Paul Gerber. But as you can see, Paul Gerber has been keeping constant 2/10 right behind him, and now he's sniffing right behind the rear of that Ferrari of Noah Hendricks. And things are tight again. You know, it's the exact same as the top running packs. I mean, no matter where the positions are, people are fighting proper, they're fighting clean, and they're fighting hard. And it's always a great thing to see, and it's what you always see down here at RaceFace. And he's going to continue to battle him. He's going to continue to put effort, continue to put as much pressure as he can. We're down to almost 15 minutes left of Heat 2. That's almost halfway. And these drivers are starting to feel that ending and closing pressure of the season, of the heat, and of this race.
Now it's going to be monumental as Paul Gerber tries to make his way through, bouncing over the curbs, trying to pull it all together. One thing you guys say that you love about GT3s is that you can attack the curbs on the way through. If it was a single-seater, well, that is a front wishbone bent, broken, and gone by the end of it. So definitely some very, very close racing, some hard chasing, but no one able to pull the cards out on one another just as yet. That Joker in the pocket still needing to be pulled out as Paul Gerber diving into the pit. So he is opting, he's losing out a little bit of time, goes for the pit lane, and will be trying to do a little bit of an undercut. I mean, this is just absolutely monumental stuff, bouncing through the field, drivers pushing themselves that little bit more. You've been involved in sim racing for quite some time in the highest of competitions here in South Africa. Your whole team going and fighting out in some of the highest competitions. I mean, this is wild stuff.
Absolutely. I mean, you even saw there Paul Gerber having to make a last-minute decision. You know, determining that, listen, I'm sitting in dirty air. I'm taking it a little bit too slow here. I'm rather going to take an early pit stop and try and fight in some cleaner air. It's the small, little, quick decisions of a sim racing driver, even real-life drivers. They all face the same thing of trying to make those split decisions of how to benefit on track, especially in such a short race. I mean, you know, in endurance racing series, you've got way more time to think, way more time to strategize. But in a half-an-hour heat race, there's not really much time to think, and you know, you got to make a quick decision which could either make or break that race, and in particular the championship for some of these people. But on board again with Jason Coetzee, now still chasing Troy Dolenchek, who's still got a clean 1.8 second gap to Jason Coetzee. Jerry Swart has lost a little bit of time to Jason Coetzee, now 1.2 seconds behind. And we're going to start to see a couple more pit stops happening now to see will the undercut come into play like Steven mentioned, or will the overcut still be the power king? We'll have to see. Hey, people are going to start coming out, but what we saw in Heat 1 is that the earlier drivers who pitted didn't benefit too greatly.
Now, Greg van Niekerk going and pulling into the pits, and Kabela Matsumai going to go out a little bit longer. It looks like Willem Botha onto the back of Doug Gerber, trying to do everything he can. Quinton Kutzer dealing with Robbie Teens and Mahath Musa, who are gaining on one another. Mahath Musa, coming from the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, very familiar with the BMWs, has been a formidable foe throughout the series. Robbie Teens getting more and more comfortable with the Ferrari 296, going on to the back of Quinton, all the way out from Red Star Raceway. He's having a ton of fun out there. Got a mixture of skills and talents from all the different drivers, and it's absolutely phenomenal stuff. I mean, that's just you are the leader of, and I'm going to probably butcher the name again, so I do apologize, and you finally get to correct me on it. And there's Omnius Gaming team.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. It just took only took about 4 years to get that horribly wrong, all right. As we do see Greg van Niekerk tapping.
Tap.
Oh, just coming out of the pits. Understeer. Oh! Understeer for the number 15. And
so
nowhere to go.
Unfortunate for Mahath Musa. Man, that is really tough to see. I mean, we're busy talking about some other things here, and then unfortunately Mahath Musa seems to be listening into us, and he lost a little bit of concentration there. I don't know. I think he got tapped actually from behind. He didn't actually lose the car. That
looked to be Greg van Niekerk coming out of the pits with a bit of understeer, slight contact onto the rear, and then all of a sudden we had Malcolm Pringle, who, well, went like a Simba chippy at that point and went crunch into the side of him. Oh, there's not much that could have been done there, unfortunately.
Definitely not. Unfortunately, Mahath Musa getting sent out onto the curb, which is actually the racing line. So not much place that the Porsche could have gone, but let's see the replay. As you mentioned, Van Niekerk coming out of the pit lane. Okay, that's already past the accident. Yeah, he could not go anywhere, unfortunately. Mahath, unfortunately, being on the side of a bit of a blind corner, Let's see, here comes Van Niekerk out the pit lane. Wyeth doesn't really see him too much. Oh, and that's unfortunate. Van Niekerk didn't really have anywhere to go.
Yeah, I think that was a bit of errors, and the contact at the end of it was just the icing on that piece of cake. Unfortunately, Wyeth will be carrying a bit of damage to the side of his car, but Malcolm Pringle, who just now became a Simba Chippy, now losing out a little bit of time there. He's still in 16th. He's going to try to drive it out, but that car definitely aching and ailing at the moment. And those tires are definitely going to be pointing a little bit too much negative camber, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. That was an extremely unfortunate incident from his side. Like we already mentioned, he had nowhere to go. But yeah, it's pretty clear to see that the bumper of the Porsche is it's left and it's gone to La La Land, and he's going to have to carry that Porsche over the line with or without that damage. It depends on if he's going to put it. But we are about to hit, let's wait for it, and it's 10 minutes left of Heat 2. Exactly 10 minutes left of Heat 2. So now it is once again sweats coming down the eyebrows. The hands are starting to shake. People are starting to realize, okay, Flip, I need to lock in. As we mentioned, that Urumpi SWAT actually losing a place. They've done their pits. That makes sense, yeah. So Luka Legovic staying out again. As you mentioned, he seems to monitor the tires a little bit better compared to the rest of the field, being able to take a couple more laps out of that Corvette compared to the other drivers.
Oh, there we go. Luka Legovic out in first place. Troy Dolanchik in second place. Jason Coetzee trying to chase him down. Urumpi SWAT in fourth. Werner SWAT in fifth. Sixth is Jan Sparmers. And going and finding out Mark Heron in 7th, Noah Hendricks in 8th, Yasamai in 9th, Cabello Matsamai up into 10th place. So don't count out Prince KB yet, looking to drop the new big single of winning the race, well, getting into that top 10 and having a bit of fun. Robbie Teens leading out for our Pro-Am after Van Rensburg, who will be kicking and screaming his way in the pits, losing out a couple of points, seeing Teens getting closer and closer to the fight. Now going and leading out for the class.
Oh, Teens actually stealing the that class position from two people, unfortunately. Van Rensburg, who lost due to the network connection, and then obviously Van Niekerk, who had a bit of an incident with Musa on the pit exit. So he's gotten himself the position of first place of AM. I'm not too sure where he's sitting in standings, Stephen. I don't know.
So
if
he's 11th overall on track. He is first in class, and in standings he is lying 10th on 136 points. So it's not going to bounce him too high up through the field, but he is pulling into the pits, and that is going to allow Doug Herber, who is going to go the extra lap. Stephen Cakebread's going to go around. Malcolm Pringle is still going to keep going. And Greg Van Niekerk, who is now... We saw him come out of the pits, but we do have a change up for Pro-Am. And that is now Doug Herber, who is up at the top of the charts, looking to improve his standings on the way through for the Pro-Am class.
So Doug Herber up into the top of the Pro-Am class. I'm actually not too sure if that Porsche of Malcolm Pringle is going to pit. I don't know if he's actually done a pit stop. I wasn't paying too much attention to that. But he might carry that Ferrari to the end of the line. But yeah, Greg Van Niekerk, unfortunately, still losing out from that incident with Musa. So he's down in 15th from whichever place he was in. But he was in the lead for Pro-Am before he went into the pit. On board now with Raymond Duggan, down in 18th place. Raymond is currently trying to chase down, that seems to be the...
Team Delta Motorsports. That's Yuppie Simons in the Porsche just ahead of him. Raymond Duggan trying to get past, and Luke Lucchese onto the back of him. Now, Luke Lucchese is part of the Pro class. Raymond Duggan is also in Pro, trying to get a little bit more defensive. Yuppie Simons going and running second of the AM class, trying to make his way through, dealing with these two on the back of him, looking left and right. Luke Lucchese really hunting down for a spot. Raymond Duggan will be defending his line, looking inside, looking outside, trying to figure out how it's going to go. Luke Lucchese looked for the send, second-guessed it, just enough to keep it busy in the mirrors. And, well, as you know really well, Tristan, that all you have to do is just sit in the guy's mirrors, force him to turn his head ever so slightly, take those eyes off the apex that he's hunting for, and suddenly it all becomes a bit of a closer race. But Raymond Duggan not too concerned, gets onto the back of Yuppie Simons as they try and tow each other along. Yuppie trying to go late on the brakes. That Porsche going out a little bit wide, taking a bit of a wider line compared to Raymond Duggan, who gets the run, understeers off the track, loses out a little bit of time, backs out of it. Luke Lucchese trying to go around the outside, will be stuck on the rumble strips. He brings himself back side by side. They go. Luke Lucchese carrying way more momentum, looks for the pass on Yuppie Simons, has to go climbing onto the anchors there, but Daniel Demetrio at Petro, who has just joined the fight. This has now gone from a racing lobby to a Call of Duty lobby, as Daniel Demetrio at Petro looked for the inside line, couldn't get the pass on Raymond Duggan on the way through. Raymond Duggan did not expect Daniel to get that close in a matter of seconds.
No, he did not expect that. But, I mean, they might be feeling a little bit claustrophobic here. I mean, thinking, damn, guys, we're all fighting for position here. And then, obviously, Jopi Simons in the division below. He's surrounded by these pro drivers who are trying to fight for position between themselves. And, I mean, we see now Raymond Duggan losing out to Luke Lucchese and Daniel Demetrio Preto. So he has, unfortunately, lost out a little bit, just too claustrophobic for him being stuck inside of that little chamber of AM and Pro, being stuck behind the car of Jopi Simons, and then obviously being pressured by the two pros behind him. So there we go. Luke Lucchese up into 17th, has gone past Jopi Simons, and now that'll be the next job of Daniel, trying to pass Jopi Simons as we come across the line with just under 5 minutes left of this heat, approximately 3 laps left. So 3 laps left, 5 minutes, just under 5 minutes. I mean, things are getting interesting. Jason Kutsia 5/10 behind Troy Dolenchek. I mean, the fight for first actually is very close.
First, second, and third are under a second to one another. This has now changed the ball game completely. We've gone from playing baseball to cricket. Now we have gone to playing rugby, because every single one of these drivers are looking to tackle it. 3 young competitors all have a chip on their shoulder to prove that they are on a level to one another to be the highest of the sim racers. All complete friends looking to do battle. All looking for the bragging rights here tonight for the final heat of Season 1, the debut running of the RaceFace.Pro Sprint Series on iRacing. This is going to be a very, very close run to the line. Not much time left, and these 3 constantly fishtailing around the corners. I think the tires have walked out to Never Never Land, and these drivers are just trying to hang on with everything they can. Absolutely monstrous run. The Porsche will have the advantage here over the Chevs due to its rotation. The Chevs will have the top end to go and close down. So all that Troy needs to do is ensure he keeps a gap down the main straights to avoid Jason Kutsi and Yuri Umpiswat, who are constantly fighting each other through the corners, so they're not doing each other any justice on the way through. As you can see, Yuri leans onto that left-hand mirror saying, hey, listen, I'm coming. Don't worry just as yet. Both going and touching the dirt, under braking, both getting squirrely. Tristan, this is going to be an absolute brawl to the line.
I mean, this is an amazing entertainment. We've got the final heat of Season 1, the final heat coming down to just above 2 minutes left of this race, approximately 1 or so laps left, and I mean, we've got a battle for third. I mean, what more could you want in a final heat, a battle for third? As Yuri Umpiswat actually looks up the inside into the chicane, it's actually going to take him very clean overtake from Yuri Swat on Jason Kutsia, but now Troy Dolenchek might start pulling away from the 2 Corvettes as they're fighting each other extremely hard. Already a second pulled between Troy and Yuri Umpiswat, so it's looking a little bit intense now for the Corvettes. They might be flaming each other a bit, you know, like, come on, man, we need to try and fight this Porsche off. The Porsche's got the better rotation and the better corner exit speed, but as you mentioned, the Corvettes have got the better straight line speed. So it all just depends on where they can capitalize on using their car's performance. And who's that in front?
That is one of the backmarkers going and holding back Troy Dolenchek ever so slightly. And that did allow Yuri Umpiswat and Jason Kutsi to get a little bit closer under braking. So they are properly giving it all. So at the moment, white flag wave, final lap it goes. First, second, and third all on the cards. It is Troy Dolenchik, Yurian Piswat, and Jason Coetzee fighting it out till the very breath. Jason Coetzee going out wide, though. That is going to compromise a bit of time. Yurian Piswat closing up the gap, trying everything he can. But it looks like the seconds are starting to open up away from first place. Troy Dolenchik not having any of it right now, trying to break away from this little fight behind him. Werner Swart running in 4th, Jan Sparmers in 5th, Luka Logovic in 6th, Mark Heron in 7th, 8th place, Noah Hendricks, Yaz Samai, and Willem Buerta rounding out our top 10. Kabela Matamai in 11th position, but Doug Herber leading out our Pro-Am, and Vaynon Kursop leading out our Am class on the way through. This is valuable points, but the only one that's going to be smiling hugely at the moment is Jason Coetzee, because his championship rivals, Daniel Demetrius Petro, Noah Hendricks, and Luke Lucchese, are well enough behind him, which means he will be securing that first place. All he has to do is finish.
There seems to be a big battle currently for second place of the Pro-Am division. I'm seeing lots of overtaking happening. People are right on top of each other, but it seems like someone has backed off. I saw someone was 800s of a tenth away. I'm not too sure what's happening now, but I believe that that race might be over for the Pro division. Greg van Niekerk, we are on board now, 3rd place currently, chasing down Malcolm Priggle in front with the damage on that Porsche, and you can see how close he is. He is biting the back of that Porsche now. 5/10 was a little bit closer, but he did drop off. I saw them very close. They might have had a little bit of a tussle and had to slow it down a bit, but he's going to be pushing now to try and get to the line and finish this off. You can see him going deep, trying to gather the speed, flick that Ferrari around the corners to beat the Porsche's exit speed. I don't know if it's going to be enough, Stephen.
It's going to be a proper run, but Malcolm Pringle, who is nursing that Simba Chippy to the line, is going to be properly getting defensive, middle of the circuit, holding it back. And now Greg van Niekerk has only got the little straightaway to make up some time. Looks to the inside line. Couldn't quite get the pass done. He's going to have to accelerate late on the brakes. 2 corners to go. But it looks like Malcolm Pringle has stayed alive long enough to come over the line. 2nd place in class with Greg van Niekerk onto the back of him. Stephen Cakebread getting ahead of Luke Lucchese right towards the line. But ours out to the front goes to Troy Dolenchik getting the win. Absolutely incredible stuff for Troy Dolenchik, who finishes ahead. Yurian Piswat, Jason Coetzee, Werner Swart, Jan Sparmers comes across the line in 5th place. 6th is Luka Logovic. I mean, that is just incredible running. And what a massive run for all our competitors. So let's take a look to our results, starting off with our pros. And Tristan, over to you.
So Troy Dolenchik keeping an immense lead over the race, a good 2-second gap, and then as we got to the final stints of the race after the strategic pit stop, obviously getting a bit of a fighting, but he managed to keep it. So Troy Dolenchik locking out in 1st place, followed by Yuri Swart, Jason Coetzee, Vanna Swart, Jan Sparmers, Luka Legovic, Mark Heron, Noor Hendricks, Yasamai, and Willem Buerta, who closes off 10th for the Pro division on the final heat of Season 1.
Moving on to our Pro-Am, Doug Herber coming across the line with Malcolm Pringle defending to 2nd place. Greg van Niekerk in 3rd, Stephen Cakebread, Robbie Teen, Stephen Kutzer, Quinton Kutzer, Roland Ferrer, Etienne Swart, and Paul Nadir in 10th position. Moving on to our Am class, Tristan, over to you.
All right, so Am class again, the smaller grid, but again, Vaynon Kursop managed to keep a great lead. As you can see, there are about a lapse gap to 7 seconds from Jopi Simons, and then a couple of laps. So Vaynon Kursop finishing in 1st, Jopi Siemens in 2nd, Willem Pina in 3rd, Paul Weber in 4th, and then Mdolozi Gambushi finishing it off in 5th in the AM division for the final heat of the RaceFace GT3 Sprint Series iRacing Season 1.
Absolutely incredible stuff. What a season it has been with all our drivers battling out. So let's take a look to some of the exciting times, and as we're going to get a couple of drivers to have a chat to here in the interview room. But Tristan, I've got to say, what's your thoughts of the final round 4 here at Zolder for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series? What an amazing time. Very close in the race, and I've got to say, just absolutely incredible stuff.
Well, my thoughts are that I'm actually kind of upset that I wasn't here for the other races. This racing was absolutely incredible. There were so many cars in grid, yet people kept it so clean, so entertainable, and so precise. I can't comment too much on the season as I haven't been here much, but I was more than happy to be here for the final round. It was an amazing race. Everyone raced proper, clean, and hard racing, and I couldn't be more proud to commentate for such a great race.
And this being your return, if I'm correct, to the world of commentary, which is just absolutely incredible. So we have to do it correctly. Had a chat to Tim, and there we go, folks. Commentary done by Tristan Herbst. Now
we are back on board.
There you go.
That's awesome to see.
There we go. But what a run. Absolutely exciting times throughout the field for the final one. But we do crown a couple of champions, starting off with our pro champion, Jason Coetzee, who got the run. And we've got him in the interview room. Let's bring him in. Jason, welcome to the commentary box. Absolutely monumental running there. How are you feeling?
Yeah, decent. I think it was quite stressful in the beginning because obviously there's so many things that can go wrong, especially with power and Wi-Fi and all those sorts of things. But yeah, I mean, it's really fun. I think the last race really made it worth it, especially how tight it was between me, Umpi, and Troy. But yeah, it was really fun.
I've got to say, incredible stuff. You guys were all over the back of one another. You're each trying to one-up one another. But now for something that you have been waiting for, you take the debut season of the iRacing GT3 Sprint Series here at RaceFace.Pro. You've taken the win for the Pro Division. Daniel Demetrius Petra had no answer. Noah Hendricks had no answer. Luke Lucchesi had no answer. You've taken the win. Congratulations on becoming the champion, the very first champion for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing after 8 grueling races, or 8 heats and 4 rounds going bi-weekly. I mean, that is just, no one can take it away from you. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, I think it was quite stressful, but at least it's done now, so now we can go and watch the Olympics.
Oh, there we go. Go and support. But also with the prizes coming in, Tristan, anything you would like to go and ask for Jason, who has now taken the championship and had the fight of his life for Heat 1 and Heat 2?
Well, Jason, you had an absolutely amazing race, man. Great defense there from Yuri behind you. I wanted to ask, how did you cope with all that pressure? I mean, me and Steven were sitting here biting our fingernails, watching Yuri get up all on your rear side of that Corvette. How did you manage that pressure?
To be honest, I was more focused on getting to Troy. But yeah, I mean, things got quite tight at some stages, but yeah, I mean, it's always really fun to race with friends. Obviously, considering that you know each other so well. So
absolutely. Well,
yeah, I mean,
drive.
Luckily, the internet didn't influence us.
100%. No, I 100% agree. But absolutely amazing race for you, man, and well done on winning the debut season of the iRacing GT3 RaceFace Pro Sprint Series.
Thank you so much. I also want to just say thank you to Doe and them, as well as Steven, yourself, everyone that has obviously set everything up and made sure everything runs smoothly. So yeah, big ups to you guys.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Well, Jason, now the words that you want to hear. Doe, what is the prize for winning the championship in the Pro Division for the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing?
The prize is 4,000 Rand cash to the winner in Pro, and 4,000 Rand cash to the winners of Pro-Am, and 2,000 Rand cash to the winner of the Am Division.
So Jason, you're going to be buying the drinks for everyone because you are walking home 4,000 Rand richer just by doing some sim racing and right before the weekend. How are you feeling knowing that?
I think that sounds really nice. I think that will go into the bank to save a bit, but definitely some drinks will be brought to that.
I just want to say, obviously subject to final results being published, but I think if all went well and all went clean, well, congratulations, Jason. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely incredible stuff. Jason Coetzee of RDSA Esports, well done, and well done on the win.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible stuff. And while jumping into the commentary box, we are graced with Do Gerber, who came second, or got the win in our Pro-Am and had a fight for second place in Pro-Am in Heat 1. I mean, Do, how are you feeling? Championship aside, you've had your ups, you had your downs, you've been the admin fighting it out, but eventually getting to see that checkered flag in the Pro-Am class, how are you feeling after that?
I'm pretty stoked about the win. Yeah, I must say I'm quite happy. I've been putting in a little bit of time for this race, so yeah, the work paid off. But I think overall, I just want to, obviously a big shout out to all the drivers that are here every week. Some of them only every second week, but for the guys that are here all the time to support this league of ours. It's a massive shout out to every single one of them. Without the drivers, I always say there's no show, right? So it's really important to us to make it a series that they can enjoy. That the racing is of good quality. And that they keep coming back for more, right? So beyond prize pools and all that kind of stuff, ultimately, I want people to be racing here, whether there's a prize pool or not. Prize pools are kind of cherries on the top if we're able to get those. But yeah, Stephen, you and your team from a production perspective, also big thank you to you guys, right? We make the show, but you guys put it out there for the great wide world to see every week, and it's you're giving up your personal time, you and your team. Tristan, thank you for joining the team as well. And on behalf of RaceFace, all the sponsors that we have, thank you to you guys as well, because obviously without the sponsors, again, we don't have these cool prizes to give out. So we really appreciate the support we are getting from our sponsors. Thanks, Stephen.
Would you like to know some really good news? Because taking a look at this, and this is bad math, okay? Do you know me long enough that I'm not very good at math, but working it out, Fani Graveseen did not have the best of races, which means you would have jumped him in the points, and Van Rensburg, unfortunately, didn't make Heat 2, which means Do Gerber, you have taken first place of the Pro-Am GT3 Championship, and if I remember correctly, this is the very first time in a very long time that you have managed to walk away with the gold here at RaceFace after so long of racing in Assetto Corsa Competizione and in iRacing. I think this has been about a year and a half in the making.
No, it's the first time ever I've won a championships.
First time.
So yeah, in what's that? Call it let's see, 6 years of sim racing. It's the first time ever I've been able to win a championships. Thanks, Stephen.
You have finally done it, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, after I think going on 6 years, if I remember correctly, Team Try Hard finally getting that top spot once again, which is just a team that has been around since Noah's Ark ran aground and rotted away. Now finally getting the gold back home.
Well, I think I can definitely say you are the living proof, and that commitment, time, and dedication is the main factor of sim racing. I mean, like you said, you've committed yourself for 6 years, and you've grabbed your first championship win. And I mean, what a great example to the rest of your team to show that time and commitment really does pay off. Thanks
for the kind words, Tristan. Appreciate it.
Cool. And that's one team boss to another. Sure, that is. I got a tear in my eye. Do, congratulations there. Tristan, any final things you'd like to ask Do before we let him go and have a party with the rest?
No, I'm all
of
good.
his
He
team?
needs to go and enjoy the time with Team Try Hard. Enjoy and don't spend that money too unwisely. But great racing, and have a great night further.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I can see it going to some new content. Well, bringing in our final driver, winning in our AM class for the evening, Vaynand Kursop. I've been waiting to say this for a very, very, very long time. Vaynand Kursop, also known as Wobble, my first friend in sim racing since I started 4 years ago. We met each other in Assetto Corsa Competizione, and looking at the math here, there's a very good chance you may have walked home with second, maybe first
Yeah,
in the
maybe
GT3.
first. It's very close.
So we're waiting
We're
to
gonna
see.
have to wait for the official results.
But Vaynand, you finally got onto those positions after so long. Wobble has beaten Swerve. Wobble has finally scored himself to the top. Vaynand, how are you feeling with that?
I'm honestly tired of after that last race. I had to push super hard to get back past Choppy because I took the gamble of taking tires in both races, and
Well,
it paid off.
paid off.
Well,
I want to push a lot harder than the most of the guys that at the second part of the race, so that helps a lot. I did the first same on the Monza race. I think my season would have gone a lot better if I didn't have some misfortune on the Imola rounds, but hey, it's racing.
well, I'm going to leave you to our brand new in the world of commentary. Tristan, the floor's yours to ask away to Vaynand Kursop. One thing I do want to point out, Vaynand, thank you very much for your hard work. You and the stewarding team been working throughout the season faultlessly, having a lot on the table there. While you got your little one, while you went in for operation, and while you decided to ride a bicycle for I don't know how many thousands of kilometers. So that's already insanity by its own. Tristan, over to you.
Awesome. Vaynand, if I'm not mistaken, you started behind Jopie Simons, correct?
Yeah, the first race I started, I think, in 30th. I think I was 14 positions behind him, and then the second race I was 8 positions behind him, yes.
So how does it feel? How did you feel when you managed to get him? I don't know if you jumped him in the pits or if you jumped him on track. What was going through your mind when you realized that you were leading the AMPAC?
I was just trying to keep him behind because I actually caught him at the start of the race because I was taking some gambles on the start straight in the first corner, and it paid out. But yeah, I got some bumps in between as well. Some of the guys didn't seem to notice I was next to them in mid corner or like just before the corners. But hey, we survived, and I really had to push super hard to keep Choppy behind us. But hey, it was a really fun race, the last one.
Well, you know what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So, I mean, it seems those bumps
Yeah.
did seem to pay off. And final question from my side, how did you manage to handle the pressure? Because obviously you were racing in a multi-division race tonight with multiple classes, not multiple classes, sorry, multiple divisions of the GT3 class. How were you coping with being surrounded by some of the other Pro and Pro-Am drivers?
Honestly, I got a bit frustrated at one point with some of the Pro-Am guys because I was sitting on them all the time. But then after the pits, I got a bit of clear air and I was able to just relax a bit and just focus on catching Joppy again.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Vaynand. But absolutely spectacular race. I guess it'll come down to the final results from the head of the league to determine where we will finish, whether that's first or second. But I mean, all fingers crossed to you that you managed to grab that nice little cash prize provided by the sponsors. And I hope you have a great night further.
Thank you, same to you guys. Have a lovely night, guys.
If Vaynand,
Cheers, Swerve.
yeah, cheers, Wobble. But if I remember correctly, if you get the win in this is your first championship win in sim racing.
It will be my first championship win in some racing, yes.
So we've got some first timers tonight there.
There we go.
Yeah.
That would be popping the cherry of note. But Vaynand Kursop, also known as Prune My Prune, out on Twitch, going and having a bit of fun out there. Vaynand, thank you very, very much for joining us.
Gents, have a lovely night. Cheers, everyone.
Wow, wow, wow. Some exciting times, some exciting racing, and for the final heat, the final race of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series here on iRacing. Tristan, it has been an absolute banger of a season. We've seen some close racing. We saw the championship points come down to the final race, which is always grand to see some phenomenal action out on track. And getting to chat to the drivers at the end is incredible stuff. Any closing thoughts for the final race before we say goodbye to our sponsors for the final time for season 1, and goodbye to our amazing spectators out there in the virtual grandstands?
Only thing I probably have to say is it's always an amazing thing to see. I mean, you're probably thinking about the joy of the faces of people such as Doe and Vaynant. I mean, first time championship winners here on the debut race, the debut season of the RaceFace.Pro GT3 iRacing Sprint Series. It's an absolutely phenomenal thing to witness. New guys coming in, winning. It's not a repetitive thing. It's brand new. It's entertainment. It's a fast-paced environment, and it's been an absolute pleasure commentating with you, Stephen, on the final race. And I wish to be in many more.
I think that is pretty much set in stone after this, but absolutely incredible stuff. Well, for anyone that wants to follow the story of Tristan, please go and look up Tristan Herbst. Also go and look up his team. Before I butcher his name, Tristan, would you like to mention your team? Because they're going to be racing on Wednesday and Thursday.
Yes, so as mentioned before, I am the sim racing manager for a team in ACC known as Omnius Gaming. We've been doing pretty well recently, especially the last season of RaceFace where we managed to take the championship. And we're hoping to take it again this year. So shout out to the team. They've done amazingly well, and we are looking forward to the second round of the RaceFace ACC GT3 Championship happening on Wednesday, which is the sprint, and then the main championship on Thursday.
Yeah, so catch all the live action happening tomorrow night, starting at 8 o'clock for our RaceFace.Pro GT3 Sprint Series on Assetto Corsa Competizione, and then 8 o'clock on Thursday for our RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship, all sponsored by PokerBet. So that is the RaceFace.Pro PokerBet GT3 Sprint Series that's got a 1,000 Rand prize pool on the line, and on Thursday
150,000 Rand, 100,000 Rand for the Thursday, Wednesday one
for the Sprint Series, and then Thursday the RaceFace.Pro GT3 Championship, PokerBet GT3 Championship, got to get that one right, is 150,000 Rand, one of the largest sim racing pools that we have here in South Africa that has been brought in. Absolutely incredible stuff. But we get to say goodbye to everyone. A massive shout out to our sponsors here on the iRacing side, the Ondorf Machinery Mart, SA Lube, and SimiWorks Technologies, jumping on board, being a part of all the action. Always fantastic to have our sponsors. Always fantastic to let them know that we love them. And go and take a look. If you want to join in for all the racing action here at RaceFace.Pro, take a look at simgrid.com and join up with RaceFace.Pro. It is absolutely tremendous stuff. Lots and lots of racing happening on iRacing and on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Many more stories to come. Whether you like endurance racing, whether you like sprint racing, we got it all here at RaceFace.Pro. On behalf of myself, Stephen Koenig, and Tristan Herbst here at the THT Productions, we want to say thank you very much to you all. And like always, say it with me, a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.